Everybody who's catching this right away, you are a devout follower of Trading Tuesdays because you just want to know where the charts are going. I want to know where they're going too, which is why we do this. So today we are going to be talking about technical analysis on Bitcoin, Doge, Link, Digibyte, BSV. Oh, sorry, we just decided to not do BSV. Like many people should also decide not to do BSV. VeChain. We are going to discuss hash rate, how the Ethereum tokens are now more valuable than the Ethereum market cap by, I think, about $5 billion. And PayPal is making its own cryptocurrency, a little extension of what we were talking about last week. So if you want to introduce yourself, we have a old guest turned, an old moderator turned stranger turned back on. Feel free to introduce yourself, guys.
Hey guys, just the resident Bitcoin toxic maximalist, Matt, back on the scene. Sorry for the absence for the past few weeks, but definitely super pumped to be back on the show. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Go ahead. Matt is just the mastermind behind a lot of our streams, so shout out to Matt if you enjoy our content.
Behind the scenes. My name is Ty Blackard. My name on Twitter is Titan Inc. Probably see me around. CCO of FOMO Hunt. We're building financial products for the future, and hopefully we'll be able to launch in August. It's been a long time coming, but we have some awesome things in store for everybody. So thank you.
Awesome.
Can't wait to see it, man.
Absolutely. So do we want to dive right into coins?
Yeah. So I mean, you let us know if you like this better, you guys. But we are going to start doing just chart reading first, and then talk about news. So Bitcoin, let's go.
All right.
Old faithful, a good old corn.
Let's see.
The one that started it all. Let me add that for you, buddy.
All right. Let me know when you can see.
Perfect. I got you.
Cool. So one of the things that I noted recently, I actually posted this on Twitter, was that Bitcoin was kind of forming an interesting pattern, and you could call this like a pennant. And the current issue with this chart for any TA people, I guess you could say, is that if you can see here at the bottom around March, this is what is known as like Black Thursday. This was like, panic for a lot of people. The Bitcoin price, it went down to what, 3,900. I had people DMing me, literally saying to me, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Just freaking out. So I was, I had to re-encourage them. Hey, it's going to be fine. This is like not supposed to happen by any stretch of the imagination. This is super weird. And so right after that occurrence, what we saw was a price increase from the bottom of that candle from 3,900 to where we are today, which is about 131% increase. But even before that, Bitcoin really wanted to get into a range above 8,000, which was like a 100% increase from the bottom at 3,900. And I have like theories and speculations as to why we dumped. And, sometimes people are just going to not attack you, but come after you for some theories because they're like, well, it's the way the market goes, man. That's just how it works. But I don't actually completely agree with that, because it's there are some manipulating factors when you also factor in things like BitMEX. There was like supposedly like a DDoS attack on that day with the BitMEX engine, and so all kinds of weird stuff that happened that people speculate led to the drop in price. Regardless, where we ended up after a few weeks of dropping to that very low point was right around where we're at now. We've been staying in this area or in this range since around April, the end of April. And so, if without this little area here, what you likely would have had is a sideways action or more action forming this pennant instead of this just kind of random dip below the pennant. So if you didn't have this drop, you'd have a nice looking chart, and you'd have what you see here, which is what I've drawn. So you have this area, which is our lead up to 2019 April, like the year before the halving, where the price just shot up and everybody thought, hey, we're going to the moon again, and then it didn't really happen. And then you have like a second attempt. And so people thought this was the moonshot. so anytime the price goes up, pretty much people think it's the moonshot. All right. But we kind of built some support on this trend line. And then now what's happening is we're kind of in this range that's stuck between these two pennants from the tops of these rallies. And if this pennant holds true, what would likely happen is we would see, obviously, a breakout above the pennant if you are bullish on Bitcoin, or B, a drop below. But it doesn't seem likely because of some factors like the when the drop in March happened, it recovered so quickly to reach like a mean range, and that's where we're at now.
Yeah, it was like 12 hours, I think. Not even 12 hours. And I think we were below 4,000 for 20 minutes, which is a little funny because yesterday I did a stream with Salt, and I was talking about one of their competitors, which is BlockFi, which is like very well known, and they liquidated so many accounts. And I'm like, how could you do that? It was below 4,000 for like 20 minutes. So yeah, I mean, you're right. It recovered super quick.
Exactly. And then a lot of people got liquidated. Some people have thrown theories out there that this was a mass liquidation attempt. I mean, a lot of people, actually very few people made a lot of money off of these liquidations. So some people have some theories, they may or may not be relevant or not, but regardless, the price of Bitcoin has stayed relatively, in this mean or in this range, for some time now. So throw out this little area here and you got a pretty nice looking chart. So now you have to either, assume that Bitcoin is going to break out above the pennant here or just crash below. But based on, the Bitcoin halving, based on the current economic circumstances that are surrounding us right now, I don't see that as being a real option. I don't see a drop, at least. Now you can also see that there is declining volume, which sometimes it points to a crash in price, but it sometimes doesn't. It doesn't really matter. What it really means is like, what is the volatility like in terms of volume? So in times like these, when you have decreasing volume, what it really means is that there's going to have to be some kind of like major decision made in terms of price, going up or going down. So obviously, it's the same situation that we're in here with this sideways action and this pennant that's been formed. I think, obviously, Bitcoin is going to go up. I think most people do because of all the factors that are involved. So very soon, and this is on the weekly, so if we go to the daily, we can see, within just maybe maybe a week or two, we will likely see some type of action. And I don't think it's going to be able to continue to move sideways at that point. So what that says for alts as well is they probably got like a 1 week or 2 weeks left of alt, little semi alt season until Bitcoin makes another move. And in that scenario, if Bitcoin goes up, alts do take a hit for at least for that small amount of time that Bitcoin does make another move up, and then from there, maybe more sideways action, alts will explode after that.
Yeah, we're definitely in some type of weird alt season right now. Some coins pumped like, what was it? Zap pumped like 400% yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Over 400 at some point.
Yeah.
But Link's been popping off, Zap's been popping off. All the DeFi coins are having their day in the sun. Really.
So just our projection of, I think, February 2021, Bitcoin breaking out. Is that still on par, Ty?
Oh, it's on, and it's
It's
probably on before that. And I said that it was likely to happen like that. Yeah, I mean, I think like as early as September, we could be seeing some serious movement. But that's just my educated guess. Obviously, don't take my my advice.
I take your advice.
Okay.
Do you see any catalysts on the horizon to bring us there quicker? The only thing that really comes to mind is November 3rd, election day.
Yeah, that is an interesting scenario. And well, actually, if we have some time at the end, I want to take a look at gold because, really, gold is performing really well. Bitcoin should be performing similar to gold. But of course, we had the halving, and that caused some issues with the supply being sold off by miners. And a lot of people thought that what we were going to see instead of what we have seen from the sideways action is a huge dump off. Of course, everybody's going to be selling Bitcoin. Miners are just going to get rid of all their supply because they can't keep their operations running. But that's not exactly what we've seen. Instead, what we've seen is companies like Bitfinex pump Tether. They've made a lot more Tether. USDC has been printed off. There's been a lot of different stablecoin tokens that have probably helped the price stay where it's at. That's just my theory.
Go
ahead.
No, you finish what you were saying.
I mean, we talked about this a while ago, with my theory about the mining operations supporting the price of Bitcoin in order to sell off. So could be.
Did you see that because Brock Pierce is running for president, that they are now auditing Tether?
Really?
Yeah, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, I wanted them to audit Tether, but it's weird because like all of a sudden now they're auditing Tether, and I feel like if that happens, that probably won't be good for Bitcoin. So this could be one of those catalysts.
Yeah. If that does happen, I mean, Tether was probably a huge reason for the 2016, 2017, pump.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I don't think anybody debates that anymore. I think it's pretty much known. So is it possible that the same thing could happen again? Yes. And what happens if, the Tether supply doesn't turn out to be exactly what they say it is? I don't think it would be good, obviously, but I think it would be more authentic. And either way, I think I'm fine with it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. All right, let's move on to some good old Dogecoin. Dogecoin is popping and it's hot. And like we talked about last week, if you tune into this show weekly, Doge was being pumped online by TikTok users, and they actually did a fairly good job. I think they got it to like what, a couple pennies?
They got it. Well, actually, they got it to 0.005.
Nice. I have some Doge.
Which is so somebody actually pointed out that every single Doge pump has retraced all the way. So what we're likely to see, you can see this one here, for example. This pump, it went to 0.004, retraced all the way down to 0.0011. This pump here is probably going to retrace all the way down to, I don't know, at least the 0.786 Fibonacci level, which is from here where it's at would be another 42%. But let's say that you were like a Robinhood investor and you saw the TikTok videos and you invested at the top. Well, you've already lost 41%. So another 40%, you've lost pretty much everything.
Do we know why they did that? Like why they were so keen on pumping Doge?
I have no idea. I don't know who started it.
Target, like for that demographic of Zoomer TikTokers. Like Doge is the original meme coin. It's not the first altcoin, but it's pretty much the first coin just started as a meme. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ty, but I think the project's like completely dead. There hasn't really been much work on it in the past few years.
Yeah. Apparently they have a decent community. That's probably all they have though. But I think the development's pretty much dead.
Yeah, they have a solid community, but from a technical standpoint, I don't think Doge is going anywhere.
No, and so the problem is the new investors don't take it as it is, and the creators, the developers, I think he actually said, like, look, don't take this seriously. Like, don't expect to get any returns on this thing. It's just a meme coin. That's what it is. And if you take it seriously, you probably shouldn't be investing. That's just my personal opinion. Unless you're just trying to be a day trader and just, chase pumps. But in that case, again, don't invest in it. Just get in, get out. But, TikTok investors probably don't know that by now.
Yeah, just like these people. They got in and then they got out.
Well, yeah. Whoever started this trend probably was like, hey, man, we can make a lot of money if we just pump these viral TikTok videos telling people how much money they're going to make if it goes to $1. You know how far $1 is from here? We're at 0.003. I don't even know. Let me see if I can do this real quick. If I can even get to $1.
I how they were talking about taking it to $1 before it even got to a penny.
Yeah.
Even once it gets to a penny, you still have 100x to go.
I can't even do it because my chart's not big enough. So it's not going to happen. Not with Robinhood traders' money.
I know, and it was funny because that day when we were talking about, I think last Tuesday, I just somebody had TikTok on their phone, and so I pulled up all of the TikTok videos, and it was just clearly they're like, guess what? If we all buy this coin and it goes up to $1, then we've made this much money. So it was like nothing fundamental about anything at all. Just let's see how much money we can make.
Let's just pump this. And then one guy was actually like, look, just put $20 in and we'll just pump it to $1. And, if you put $20 in, you'll have made 10 grand or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think they understand how markets work.
Exactly. The problem is, like, people, if they're new to the space and their first introduction to crypto is buying Doge on Robinhood, like, they're not actually understanding the fundamentals of public keys, private keys, cold wallet storage. Robinhood's about as, as they have crypto products, but you're not actually holding the coins yourself. So
yeah, there's very little crypto involved. It's not actually like you can't hold your private keys, obviously. Right. I don't even know why Robinhood decided to list Doge, maybe as a joke or maybe as just a way to, I don't know, get super interesting psychological data off these free traders. I don't know.
I don't even know what it is. Like, maybe it's just boredom with Bitcoin being sideways for so long. Maybe it's boredom with, the traditional markets, and people are just looking for that next thrill, that next Dogecoin TikTok pump. I don't know what it is, man.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Dogecoin is funny and I like it, and it brings adoption because it's a good conversation topic. And how many people have given me Doge for free just because? But still, I'm surprised that it made it on Robinhood. So, but now Digibyte, DGB, this is an interesting one. So shout out. So the Digibyte owner used to live in Miami. He came to the opening party here at the Blockchain Center. Really nice. His kids are so sweet. He has 2 girls. And maybe I shouldn't oust him online, actually.
Don't dox him. Don't publicly dox him.
I know. But what did the charts look like?
Miami at 21.
Southeast first half.
Here's his address. No. Yeah, so you're talking about Jared Tate. He's very vocal in the community in general. Digibyte's actually pretty much decentralized. And it's been one of the reasons why Digibyte has had so many problems getting listed on, certain exchanges. In fact, they had a big thing with Binance for a long time, but I think they actually recently got listed on Binance. I just saw Digibyte on Binance's trading pairs, so I guess they got listed. Mm-hmm. But they've had little clashes between people back and forth. But their marketing community is totally decentralized. For the most part, they just want you to list Digibyte if you like it. They're not going to pay for it, as a lot of these exchanges have requested you do so. So that's been one of the reasons why it's been so hard to get liquidity for it. But regardless of all these things, Digibyte still is performing, and it's extremely fast. It's actually a great blockchain. I've reviewed it before. It has a 5-layer security process. It's pretty robust, and the biggest reason why it hasn't gotten a lot of attention is because it's not a pump and dump. It's not one of these tokens that is just going to get some love for the first couple months and then die out. It's a long-term deal that a lot of people believe in, and the community is very large with Digibyte, and it's a very good token, to be put very simply. It's an actual currency. It's really more of like a cryptocurrency than a lot of these cryptocurrencies are. So with that all said, how's it doing in the charts? Well, for a while, and we can go back as far as January 2019, I guess, when it was listed as a pair for the US dollar on Bittrex. For a while, it just kind of, it just depleted, didn't do a whole lot. No, not a whole lot of action. I can't tell you what the catalyst was for this gradual incline. I have no idea why, but for whatever reason, the pump starts coming in. It could have something to do with, after the halving or getting close to the halving. I mean, you can see April, May, this is where the Digibyte price started to go off. So maybe that could have fueled it. But right now what we're looking at is pretty decent volume and volatility in this specific range. And then what it's forming now is a pennant. And that is good, obviously, if Digibyte wants to continue to keep moving on. Now, from where it was at the bottom to where it is now is about a 662% increase. So if you simply, let's just say that you were, towards the bottom here, and you're just like, I'm just going to keep buying more Digibyte. I'm just loyal, I'm faithful. If you bought around there, you'd still be up like 300%.
Jeez.
So there are rewards for being faithful.
So what makes you say it's actually decentralized? Because I've never directly looked into the project, Ty.
So the whole the token distribution was apparently very decentralized. Jared Tate himself is not like the CEO of Digibyte. It's more of like a decentralized governance in the way that decentralized governance was supposed to happen. As far like he's actually released like his actual token distribution before. He didn't get a whole lot out of the Digibyte token offering, initial token offering when it came out. So in that way, it's very decentralized. Like I said, the marketing team, they're not like paid any amount of money from a company. They're pretty much just like community advocates that just do stuff for free, or just do it because they're trying to support the community, the token. So it's probably one of the most decentralized tokens out there that I've come across, and yet it does perform very well in this case. So if you were like an avid token or community supporter, and you really enjoyed Digibyte, and you just kept dollar cost averaging, you would, at this point, you'd be rewarded for that loyalty. And that doesn't usually happen in the crypto industry, especially not with like good projects. More than often not, you'll invest in something like Tron, and then you'll just get into pump and dumps like BTT and all these other things that don't actually have any value.
Interesting.
Yes.
I don't think it was the gentleman you said.
It wasn't Jared Tate?
I don't think, it wasn't Jared Tate.
Okay, yeah. So Jared Tate was a creator of Digibyte. But I don't know about the rest of their staff or their community decentralized staff.
All I know is that Digibyte is like one that I see a lot of memes for lately. And then I see a lot of influencers.
Yes.
Talking about them. So interesting. Cool. Well, Digibyte looks like it's on an uptrend.
Yep. I think it'll keep going.
Yeah, I guess moral of the story there is don't ever undermine, the importance of doing diligence. Look into the founders of a project, read the white paper, figure out what was the initial token allocation given to the founders? Do they have basically complete control? Is it actually decentralized? Is it just a paid shill marketing team pump and dump shitcoin, or does it actually have value and utility? So I just want to echo everything that you said there, Ty. I appreciate the input.
No, thank you for giving the summary. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much well put. I mean, it's not often that we see cryptocurrencies with legitimate, use cases and, who are or legit projects and companies, see some type of success. So DigiByte, in my eyes, at least right now, is doing pretty well in terms of success, as opposed to some other, companies who have just performed pump and dumps and have no actual value.
Very true.
No,
It's justice.
Now, I do have someone asking to see a BTT chart, Isaac Wilson.
Oh,
but
we can look at that after.
We can look at that after. Yeah. We got you, Isaac.
If you have time at the end, Isaac, we'll get to it. Don't worry.
It's so funny, though, because you just mentioned BTT.
Yeah.
All right, so next up, we have wonderful, I think, Link.
Link? Yep. Okay, so Link, let me go back on the weekly here.
Link also, another reason why it might be alt season.
Yeah, so I'm going to look at, I don't know what is the best look here. I guess a log might be better. So here's what I think about Link. Now, Link is very popular. All the Link memes. Of course, you got the Link Army, Link Marines. Sorry, who's the XRP Army? Is that what it is?
XRP Army, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I can't remember. Right.
Johnny Dollar calls him Stinky Linky. Shout out to Johnny Dollar.
You have all these different factions of military, even though most of these people are probably just keyboard warriors, like myself. But so you have the Link Marines. You have the Link memes, and I don't really know. I think Link is actually making partnerships. Now, it's important to note that, and I'm not saying that Link is doing this, but it's important to note that sometimes what happens to pump the price of tokens is there are these, partnerships that these companies will agree to, and it's basically like agreeing to pump each other's projects. And I've seen a lot of these partnerships. I don't actually know if Link is moving forward in a direction of like having more utility, but I've seen the same types of tokens and projects that do this over and over again. Not saying Link is doing that, but because it's very hard to measure actual utility, but obviously that does affect price. So just want to put that out there. So what we see here, though, is what's forming a rising wedge. And I also want to show the RSI here in the bottom. So I'll just remove this for a second. So my red line here, you can see right now the RSI, and this is on a weekly. So the higher the time frame, the stronger the RSI indicator is. So if I was on like the 1 minute for the RSI, well, it's not going to really mean that much. I mean, if the 1 minute RSI is like super overbought, okay, who cares, right? It's not like a long-term time frame that's going to be affected. But we're looking at the weekly, and it's heavily overbought, which is why I drew this line here to show you that there's a downtrend in the RSI as well. You can see this is overbought, and you saw from the top here, we saw about a 70% decrease from the top of this. So let's say that we have something similar. Ooh. Well, a 70% decrease from the top of this would, and I'm not saying that it will be 70%, when it does correct, but it could be. But if we did have a 70% correction, it would probably break down outside of the rising wedge, which would also look like this. If I can pull this up. Can I make this bigger? Maybe. Aha.
Yeah.
So this.
If you hold down Control and zoom in, things get bigger. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have a rising wedge here, and this is on a stock chart. I don't even know what stock chart this is, but it's an example of the pattern that we're seeing. So if you have this pattern, this rising wedge, and you have volume reducing, what is likely to happen in this scenario is a decline. And that's what they're indicating, at least in this scenario. So, yeah, so that's what we're looking at here, or at least what we possibly could look at here. because you also have decreasing volume in this scenario. So unless we see like an uptick in volume towards the end of this rising wedge, you may want to reevaluate your position in Link and at least just see if you can get it cheaper. That's my advice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone's going to sit here and argue, Link's going to crash, back to $2. But I think at some point it's got to cool off a little bit and maybe, settle around $6 or $7.
Yeah, likely. If you want, it could even rely, not even take this whole rising wedge out of the equation. You could look at possibly like a $3. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, the differential in price here. Let me just go from the bottom here and see if you had invested back in like June of 2018, for example. Wow. I mean, you'd be up like 4,100% by now.
Jeez.
Wow. Holy crap.
A while ago. I should have got in. Actually, it's funny. I got one of my friends in to cryptocurrency back in like 2019, and he just thanked me like literally yesterday. He's like, "Thank you. I'm in the Link community and all this stuff." I'm like, "Hey, share the love, man."
Send me some of that link.
Yeah.
It's crazy because it's like we're playing with penny stocks here. We're actually playing with like less than penny stocks because some of these things are valued at less than a penny.
Yeah, like Doge.
Yeah.
Except I wouldn't even call it Doge legit penny stock. Actually, you could, because most penny stocks were kind of illegitimate. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as fun as it is to just, rip on illegitimate pump and dump coins, I think Link has made it clear that they've separated themselves from the pack. They're now in the top 10. I think they're even ranked number 9 right now. So, whether you like Link or not, I think you kind of just got to acknowledge,
respect
this of the project at this point.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so we'll move on to VeChain.
VeChain is one of those coins that I definitely did a lot of trading and buying up on and researching on back when it first came out, actually, because
good.
Yeah,
did
definitely.
You tweet the other day, Ty? Did you say everyone forgot about VeChain, but VeChain didn't forget about me?
yeah. I posted that on Twitter. I have a sizable holding in VeChain, and I've been accumulating more and more. And I held it before it was VET. I held it when it was Ven.
Yep. The good old days.
The good old days. Yeah. So I did pretty well then, and of course now doing pretty well again. So VeChain is one of my favorites. A lot of people don't recognize that it is one of the elite crypto companies. It has tons of partnerships. It has like PwC. It's actively being used. If you want to look for actual utility, like Walmart China was using it for their food tracking system. There's a company, or actually not even a company. It's like an entire agency or organization that wanted to use the VeChain tracking system for farms in Italy. So yeah, it's definitely like one of the better companies with actual utility. Mm-hmm. But let's just look at the TA and see what the TA says. So when VeChain was listed, and this is like back in July of 2018, this is on Binance for the tether pairing. It crashed all the way down to around 0.001 from about 2 cents. So I mean, you would have lost a good sum of money in that time. But let's say that you bought somewhere towards the 786, between the 786 and the 618 Fibonacci numbers, which I've recommended to buy in between those numbers in a previous stream, I think last stream actually. So let's just say like you bought in the middle of this Fibonacci range, and you held until today. Well, you'd be up 408% as of today. So, yeah, I mean, I guess you can't really argue with that. You have increasing volume. So even though, and you have some really really nice looking volume. The only thing I'd say is the RSI is overbought, so we should see some type of retrace. What you might see is maybe a retrace to the 0.236 at 0.013, or possibly with seeing this support and this resistance here and support here, you might actually see like a retrace to the 0.382, which is 0.009. So either way, if you buy and it goes back up to where it's at now, you'd be 100% in price differential. So some good opportunities. And you can't say you can't make money in crypto right now because it's happening. Right. So yeah, and then look at this RSI. I mean, look at this steadily gaining RSI. You can look at like VeChain transactions. They're like breaking all-time highs all the time. If you want to look at VeChain in terms of a blockchain in general, is it better than some of these other ones like Ethereum, for example? I would say yes.
Yeah, the reason why I liked VeChain was because they were talking about helping track, because like in China, there's a lot of issues with baby formula being mixed with other things. Mm-hmm. And so that was one of their big initial initiatives, was like just tracking baby formula, making sure it didn't have crazy stuff in it when it made it to the babies.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and there's a lot of different utilities that they're coming up with, like for instance, I was talking about the wine authentication. So basically what they're doing is, for luxury wine sellers, I guess, in order to determine that, hey, this wine bottle or this wine glass is actually what it says it is, I can track the entire process on the blockchain using VeChain. And the same thing, for Walmart in China, they were, tracking all the food. So if you wanted to ensure that your batch of, food was not damaged or was not, it didn't go bad in the process of being delivered, well, you can track the entire process, and they can also see if that particular batch that you're getting, if any of the ones that were in that particular batch, they can just take all those, because they're all marked with the same QR codes. They're all part of the same supply in the blockchain, and they can basically say, okay, this batch in particular, yeet it out of here. So it's super cool. Would definitely recommend looking at VeChain.
Yeah, definitely the low-hanging fruit in terms of industries to be disrupted by blockchain technology, by cryptocurrencies. It's supply chain, and then I would say real estate, in terms of like the probably first two. But what's interesting about VeChain is that it is a public blockchain versus when people try to sign up with, Hyperledger or whatever, where it's a private blockchain. And it's like, I think on that, it's like Walmart says that if you're not using the Hyperledger blockchain for your leafy greens, they won't even accept it anymore. But we don't have to get into the difference between public and private blockchains and permission and permissionless, but VeChain is definitely a cool project to look at. Agreed.
All right, well, that's VeChain. The next one, so we can look at BTT at the very end, or we could do it now, because I was going to look at gold as well if you guys wanted to.
Let's look at gold and then get to BTT. I'm fine with that.
All right. So let's look at gold.
Sorry, Isaac. I'm just itching for that gold chart, man. Peter Schiff is having a fucking field day over here.
Yeah, so he shouldn't be if he was looking at the charts, because here's what I'm saying. So I'm actually looking at the monthly right now. So gold's doing really well, and it just broke a psychological supply or psychological resistance at 1800. However, it's just over at 1809. However, it's coming up on a larger or bigger resistance at 1919. And this was set back in August of 2011, right after the 2008 financial crisis. Now, it is entirely possible that it could break this because of the economic circumstances. And I also think Bitcoin should be performing very similarly to how gold is performing right now. That's not the case because of, I think because of the halving and because of some other factors, but mainly the halving and mainly the mining operations having a sell-off. But regardless, it's definitely, in terms of like what you want to see from a chart, it is doing just that. What you will probably see, this is just my best guess, is this is what is forming a cup. And then what will probably happen is you'll see decline from the 1919 resistance here, and then possibly like a bull flag coming down here. And essentially what this would do is it would form a handle. So you'd have a cup and then a handle. And then from here, from this point where it forms a bull flag, the RSI can recover into the purple zone again. From here, then you probably have a leg up over 1919. So that's probably possible and probably likely, just because I don't really see gold going in a different direction unless something drastic changed. I don't know what that would be. I can't really think of a scenario where gold doesn't keep going up unless the economy just completely went into overdrive and everything was back to normal the way it was before COVID. So don't really see that happening. You can count on gold to keep going up.
Yeah, I think so too, for sure. Gold and silver, guys. Bitcoin, bullion, and bullets.
And don't forget bullets. But as we keep adding on additional trillions to the 3 trillion that we've already printed, I think it's just it's like fiat leak, the inflation it's gonna take effect, and you're gonna see that in rising prices of everything. I'm not saying that's the only reason why gold is going up, but I think it's definitely playing a part in the pump.
Agreed.
And it's also like, I don't want gold to go up, even though it would be nice, but gold going up is an indicator that our economy is doing really badly. So we would like it to get better, but do I think it is? Like, no, I really don't think so, unfortunately. So yeah, guys, I would get into some gold. If you need help getting into gold, send me a message on whatever platform, because we do have people that will give you some gold. Very trusted in the space.
For free?
Oh, I wish it was for free.
So your choice, Ty. You can look at BTT or Divi. I prefer Divi, if that's cool.
All right, are they asking for both or what?
Yeah.
Well, he said or show a chart at Divi. I would just rather put people onto Divi rather than.
Okay.
Divi
I don't even know if
project's
I
pretty
can look
cool.
at Divi. I don't see it on TradingView. Wait, what's their ticker? Is it DIV?
Divi, right? DIV.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't even think they have any. Do they not have any listings?
They have to.
Let me pull it up.
Check it on CoinMarketCap, maybe see if they have any listings, because I don't, unless their ticker is different.
You're just on TradingView, correct?
Right. So TradingView usually picks up from like, Coinbase, Bitfinex, Bittrex, Binance, the main ones. Sometimes the smaller exchanges, it won't pick those up.
You could just do BTT if it's not picking up Divi.
You know what? It's his lucky day, and we're looking at BTT.
You hear that, Isaac? This one's for you.
This one's for you, and we haven't even looked at a chart of Zap. So everyone making fun of me and calling me out needs to simmer down. Okay, we're giving you guys like quality stuff here, day after day, like every single week. Again, it's not financial advice, but if you've been listening to Ty the past few weeks, you're up, bro. You're in profit. So.
This is true.
I hope so. Okay, so let's take a look at BTT. So what we can talk about what BTT is and what value it has after, but for now, I'll just see if I can come up with anything from just looking at the charts here. First thing I'll point out is volume is dead. You can see, and this kind of goes into like what BTT is and all that kind of stuff, but normally what happens is after an IEO, which is what BTT was when it came onto the scene from Binance. This was back in 2019, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it of course pumped from its initial token offering. They priced it in after the IEO pre-sale, and then of course it went to. So let's say what is the price differential here? So it went up 415% basically, and then from there has crashed down to, at the very lowest, almost 92%. This does not have any particular utility, okay, and that is usually what determines the value. I think the token supply is ridiculous. The token supply is like, I think it's, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's like 100 billion, more than that, something like that. So, you know, to be able to make a lot of money on tokens or on tokens that have a tokenomics with massive token supplies is very difficult, especially if there's no utility backing them. So I don't even see like a real trend here, to be honest. I mean, I could try, I don't know. Yeah, you could say that that's breaking a trend, and it might be. I don't feel comfortable investing in tokens like these when I know the backstory to them, and they have no utility, and their tokenomics is whack. I just don't feel comfortable. But if you wanted to say that, you know, based on technical analysis, this is technically a breakout. So you could say, hey, this trend line here, you know, you see a breakout above this trend line. It looks nice. RSI is purple. Shoot, go for it if you want to day trade it. Do I want to hold it long term? Nah. That's my opinion.
Cool, good stuff.
I mean, gave a pretty fair overview of it. Isaac, I hope that was
not too harsh.
I'm just being honest, you know.
So
right, I think that's all of these.
Hash rate?
Oh, yeah, we can look at hash rate. Yeah, let me pull that up.
Hash rate, and then while you're pulling that up, let's talk about Ethereum. So DeFi, which we've talked about on this show before, decentralized finance, is now, all of these tokens built on Ethereum is now worth more than the Ethereum blockchain itself. I think it says the ERC20 tokens are now at a market cap of 33 billion, and the Ethereum market cap is 27 billion. What does this mean to you guys?
I will tell you in a second after I tell you the hash rate.
Okay.
125, I've just broken an all-time high back on July 7th.
Okay.
125, almost 126 million terahashes. So Bitcoin go up. Fundamentals are good.
Looking good.
As always. So
the hash rate is basically how much computing power is being put behind the Bitcoin system, ensuring that it stays secure and safe. So higher hash rate is a very good thing for us.
Absolutely. So to talk about what does it mean for all these DeFi tokens to be doing better than Ethereum, I think what it really means, I mentioned this before the stream, is it's the future. What is that talking about? BTT?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're talking about BTT. Yeah.
Okay. We'll agree to disagree. So DeFi tokens doing better than Ethereum. I think what it really means is like it's easier to build on Ethereum, and utilize the token distribution that comes with being able to build on Ethereum and build your company this way, and provide these utility tokens, then Ethereum's own use case on its own is valued at. It's really what I look at it like Ethereum 2.0, like, is it ever going to come out? Like, is it ever going to get here? Some say the Ethereum developers have gotten like off their sauce. Like they're not paying attention to actually building, and they've just taken the money or the foundation tokens and kind of feel comfortable. So there's a lot of things that are going on. And at that point, you know, why keep building if you're doing fine and the DeFi community is going to pump your token anyways, or pump the price of Ethereum anyways? It's like you just got to sit back and relax at that point.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point. I mean, we'll see if it 2.0 ever does come out. I feel like it will. I think one thing that's interesting with Ethereum, though, is like the only reason why the 2017 pump even existed was because it was so easy to just write some, you know, just to make your own token. versus like, and the way that I describe it is that there's coins and there's tokens. Coins generally have their own blockchain, and tokens are just ERC20 tokens off of Ethereum. And you're kind of seeing the same thing happen right now with the DeFi movement. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's just like, if you wanted to distribute your own like NFT tokens, let's call them Eryka tokens. Okay,
cool.
we'll have we'll have Eryka tokens and Matt tokens. Okay, and we'll just distribute them out to everybody and say, hey, you know, if you use these tokens in our little ecosystem that we create for our company, you know, you can use it for all the fees involved. You can use it for like a subscription. That's all it really is. So you look at all these products and companies, and that's how they're using them for the most part. Now you can look at some like Compound, for example. You know, some of these are doing some interesting algorithms to provide, you know, yield. Now, some people say it's questionable whether that is legit or not. I don't know yet. I haven't done enough research to determine that, but yeah.
It just sounds like a bunch of the weird trading stuff that exists in Wall Street that has now turned into just bots selling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
just
it's
selling.
decentralized Wall Street stuff.
Yeah, it's the same thing. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
And then lastly, because we are coming up on our time, PayPal makes its own cryptocurrency. So last week we talked about Venmo and PayPal offering the purchase of Bitcoin. They said they would, or it was like a leaked document. However, I haven't heard any updates on that story. But now they're making their own cryptocurrency, apparently.
They hired a bunch of engineers, I think, I don't know how many months ago, but I think it was a couple months ago, maybe before, back in 2019, actually. And the news is just kind of like circulating again that they've been hiring these engineers. So I'm sure they're probably working on their own cryptocurrency or token. I think that's the model that most of these companies are taking. Like, for instance, like Square is kind of like a unique option because they decided, hey, let's not try to build our own token. Let's piggyback on Bitcoin. But that's also because Jack Dorsey was really confident about Bitcoin and took the model of making revenue off of the sales of Bitcoin. And I thought it was pretty smart. Mm-hmm. You know, Grayscale and Square accumulate for like, I think more than half of the incoming supply of Bitcoin being purchased. But then if you look at like PayPal, they might take a different model and try to go for the Libra model. They were, in fact, they were in the
Libra Association.
Yeah, they were in like the Libra organization. So before, of course, you know,
everybody withdrew.
Yeah. The government.
I'd much rather have PayPal though work on their own coin rather than Facebook. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, I guess it's the lesser, of both evils.
It's like, do you want the dog pee or the dog poop? I'm gonna pick the dog piss every single time over the poop. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean that's a good analogy. Yeah, I would say that's probably accurate. So we'll probably see like at their own cryptocurrency. They might offer crypto solutions, like they might offer like crypto sales, like Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum. They might also be concerned that the market is cornered by Square. I think Square is gonna pick up their share of incoming supply, and then you got to remember, because of the halving, there's half as much Bitcoin coming in now. So now it's much easier to accumulate for, most of that supply. So it's getting interesting.
Yeah. Well, we will definitely keep you guys up to date on what PayPal/Venmo is doing in cryptocurrencies. They've been one of the first internet payment processors, I feel like, or at least the first one that got big. So what they do, their market moves that they make, it matters. And it's also interesting because they kind of are forced to join this market of cryptocurrencies. Otherwise, they're just going to let their competitors win. So,
Agreed.
All right. Any closing comments from you guys?
Be careful what you invest in, DYOR. And when I say DYOR, I don't mean, look at the marketing for that company. I mean, look at look at legitimate details like token supply, white paper, is there any utility,
Who's the team led by?
Who's the team led by? What have they been in before? Does it look like a pump and dump? Because if it looks like one, it might be one. That's it.
Just want to echo what Ty is saying, and thank you guys, both so much for coming on the show. It's always fun to laugh and joke, but at the end of the day, if you guys are actually putting a significant amount of money into these projects, please do the diligence, take the time to do your own research, get involved in the project. Like, go on the website, find the forums, reach out to the community leaders, like get your hands dirty. A 30-second glance over the coin market cap page is not going to help. You've actually got to devote hours, if not days, if not weeks, if not months, if not years, to really understanding this stuff. So
yeah, for sure. Join the Telegram. What's interesting about crypto is that a lot of different coins and companies have Telegrams. Specifically, we have a Telegram here at the Bitcoin Center. So if you're in Telegram, type in Bitcoin Center Miami, and you can find out about everything that's going on in the local community. Like Garrett Pete telling us that the world is ours, because the world is definitely ours. So thank you to everybody who watched. You can tune in every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. to where, and by the way, we just had to shout out to Garrett because this is his art behind me, and it's also the art behind Matt. So there's you can't see it right now because the Trading Tuesdays thing is covering it, but it's a Bitcoin in a moon, which is awesome. So, yeah, that's your art, Garrett. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, anyways, thank you everybody for joining, and we will see you next Tuesday. If you are catching this after we're live, I really hope that you know that this is not financial advice. You need to consult a registered investment advisor. However, this is highly qualified opinions, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Peace.
Bye.
Thanks so much, guys. Stay safe out